Okay, well, it's been an interesting week, wouldn't you say?
Week was incredible.
Yeah, this week took about 4 months. Anyway, I'll just let you all know. You know, when we closed last week, we found out like 1 hour before. That's when
The bombing was
that's when President Mussolini bombed Iran, and and of course without the approval of Congress, without the approval of the Senate. It's just that basically, Trump, I always thought the only main reason that he bombed Iran so that nobody will be talking about the great stupid bill. Well, there was a stupid bombing of Iran. I kind of agree that it could have been done. It's not going to hurt anything. It's something that eventually would either be done now or be done later. There should have been a proper way to do it. It wasn't done properly, but it's done. We can't move the clock back. However, now there's a lot of new crap that we have to deal with. Go ahead.
So I have to deal with the crap. I think that striking Iran nuclear facilities were right on the money, but Trump is always because I read and research on the subject, and actually he delayed the strike by Israelis, so Iran moved, allegedly moved the very important part of enriched uranium, moved out of the sites. But the point is this: people are talking and arguing about is Iran about to have nuclear bomb? And answer is this: whenever you enrich uranium more than 60%, this is it. It's your weeks or a couple of months into the moment that you get the atomic bomb.
I'll make it easier. Is that once you have the enriched uranium, whether you use it now or not, you've got it. You've got it. So if you don't make the bomb now, you make it in a year, you make it in 5 years.
So it's a threat.
The point is it's there. I think the main thing that was accomplished through this whole war with Israel and Iran is that Israel basically, they got rid of their air force. They got rid of the main thing that Iran can use to cause all kinds of problems all over the Middle East. So now they have to negotiate.
And now, yes. And point is this: many people don't understand. Israel and United States bomb nuclear facilities. Iran, in retaliation, bombed people. And one of the facilities that Iran bombed and targeted with the rockets and missiles, it was a research laboratory, cancer research. For 20 years, they were researching cancer, some kind of part of the cancer disease, wherever it is. So, and 29 civilian people. It wasn't for Iran. It's not about military. It's about just killing people.
See, that's the difference. The difference between Israel and Iran. Iran bombed the cancer researcher, and Trump in the United States just destroyed ours. He fired everybody involved in cancer research, in disease research. He says, I don't have to bomb it, I can ruin it.
So let's move on. Today, actually, I went to the town hall meeting of our Congressman Brett Sherman. So it was kind of incredible experience. People in front, there were people chanting for Palestine, that Brett Sherman is a Nazi or something close to it. And it just besides of that, it was crazy experience. You can ask me any questions about.
So is he a Nazi?
He is actually, he's whenever.
I gotta move this. Okay.
Yeah, what happens, if you, God forbid, in a courtroom, let's say, and he's a good juror. He's not a good attorney or a judge. He's a rational person to make a judgment. So if you look at Brett Sherman, he's not gonna hey, let's do this, let's move that.
So he's not a Sherman tank.
He's not a Sherman tank, but he's a rational person to push the bills or potentially good bills forward. If it makes sense.
Yeah. Now, what about the bills that the moronic Republicans are trying to push forward right now?
Okay, so what happens, like, this is a problem with the Democrats. Democrats, they don't understand what needs to be done. They don't have an opposition. And today, one person actually stood up and kind of like, by the way, Congressman, what is today's Democratic Party standing for? What our position? And the guy like, yeah, we against Trump, we against this with this, but it doesn't like turn you like, hey, yeah.
See, my answer would be, what are they standing for? They're standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, that's about it. You know, like we need to unite. We need to like get more Democrats in the Congress to push away like Trump. But we are getting like deficit. Like we're getting like to the like.
They don't care. The Republicans don't care.
And Democrats.
The Democrats, yeah, I can't
How
say
they can care?
I can't say that the Democrats probably love
They don't care too.
love the whole thing because they're just thinking of all the different ways to spend that deficit. You know?
Yeah, they don't just like, there is no offer. And I went and I gave to Brett Sherman assistant, his name is John. I gave him like a book and I said like, hey, please pass it to Brett Sherman, because in my book there are solutions and nobody talks about solutions like deficit, how we're gonna do like deal with illegal immigration. He says he wants like to give the illegal immigrants right to work and stuff like that, which is in my book, but it's conditional on something. It's more comprehensive. Just to give them to right to work will make crazy stuff.
Conditional on what basis?
Because first we need like to seal the borders, not like Trump, but completely. We need to make illegal, not just illegal, but how to say, like, not just illegal, that people who hire illegal immigrants will go to jail. Simply, it's not a misdemeanor, it's going to be a felony offense.
Yeah, but I don't see how that can be done because, well, I'll tell you, look, for many things, yes, but for some people who need immigrants, these are the people that they need the immigrants
to work.
Yeah, the kind
But
of work
Jeffrey,
there's no time in between to develop the process when they need the immigrants to work in the fields or in the
Jeffrey,
hospitals.
you missed that
immediately.
You missed
not
one
in a year.
point. You missed one point. That in whenever you allow people to work, you have to register. So they would go like by online or places, and illegal immigrants will register with authorities that they won't apply for like in between, not citizenship, but apply for working
like
and stuff like that.
Like what we have in Europe, it's called a work permit.
Yeah, work permit, and having that, you can go like to people apply, because in my book I'm advocating for enacting the migrant tax. And there are many things, again, like it's not one thing. They have to just do it like for 1 hour at least to explain step by step. But the point is this, so everything what I'm talking about, like you asked, I addressed in my book. So everything will be fine. But somebody has to give me time, read the book, or time like how we can work it. Because
Okay, but in the meantime, what we need now is to fix what we don't have time for. For one thing, the United States should not have military in any form arresting people in the continental United States.
Absolutely.
For me, the National Guard has a purpose for the National Guard. When there's a fire, when there's a disaster and things like that, when there's a serious riot somewhere, then you bring in the National Guard. But the people that Trump is using, these are just
No,
we-
people
first
are
of all,
people, they
first
have
of all,
orders.
we don't know who the fuck they are.
Yeah,
You know?
but Jeffrey,
And that's
they get the orders. They're not like
no, they
evil
don't.
people.
But they're probably Proud Boys and things like.
No, they're military. They're
no,
like
the people, the ICE, they're not military. Nobody knows who they are. They're unidentified. They have no uniforms. They have no badge. They're
Jeffrey, I agree with you.
driving
Let's move
unmarked
on.
cars with no license plates. These people like that now people are. I don't know if you know this, but they're starting to find all kinds of people now are dressing up as ICE with mask faces. Again, no uniforms, no things, unmarked cars, and they're robbing places because they can get away with it because you don't know whether the person wearing the mask and arresting you is really from the government or some thug.
and that's a real big problem. It's just unacceptable. So,
But Trump loves it because Trump.
I don't care what he loves.
Yeah, but as long as he has control, and
people who listen us, they
and
have
he
to
can promote chaos. He's happy.
Jeffrey, that's the point. That people who support Trump, they have to wake up. I don't care what Trump likes it. What do you like? Do you like that somebody will pick you up on the street and just put you in the trunk of the car or inside of the bus and move you because you look suspicious? If you like it,
Yeah,
just
because you look like some other person than white.
yeah, or white, too much white.
Huh?
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, but the thing is that you say, you ask, do you like it? The question is, what can we do about it?
Yeah.
Because Trump right now is taking over the United States like a third world country, and these illegal police forces, as far as I'm concerned, are the same type of thing as the Gestapo. And I don't care. This is a
Jeffrey,
a copy
I agree
from
with
the
you.
Nazis.
This is very bad, but the problem is this: we don't have any opposition. The opposition doesn't unite itself, and the problem what Trump is doing, he says, okay, this is I'm doing for you guys because he talks to people. I'm trying to protect the nation, but we have to concentrate on the economy. We have to concentrate on stock market. We have to concentrate on other things.
You say he talks to the people, but when you look at the polls, 70% are against him and what's going on here.
If they would be against them,
And they're protesting.
Can I say-
in the No Kings thing, there were 5 million people on the streets.
but still Congress people, Republican Congress people, they don't get it. So if people who protesting, they call the Congress people and they make them to switch the vote against Trump because that's what it is.
But they won't do that.
Why not?
Oh, well, yeah, the Congress people won't do that. It doesn't matter if every single person in their entire district tells them you can't vote for it. They will say, I will vote for it, otherwise I don't have a job.
Right, but in 2026 they will not have a job.
Yeah, but the point is, can we survive till then?
I understand, but this is up to the people to give an idea, preview to the Congress people what they're looking at in 2026. This is going to be their last election.
Just as I came here, I was reading, it's just a synopsis on CNN. Like the difference between the Senate version of this big, beautiful piece of crap and the congressional version of the big, beautiful piece of crap. The big difference is that the Congress will create a deficit of $5 trillion, and the Senate $4 trillion, or vice versa. I can't remember.
And there is
insanity.
Yeah, but where is the opposition? What the Democrats are offering? There is no opposition.
Yeah, of course, there's tons of opposition, but they have no power.
No, they don't have, the power comes when I can read. This is because CNN could just, hey, look what other part of the country is offering, or the Democrats are offering. They offering this. But instead
They can't. I understand what you're saying, but they can't offer anything like.
Why not?
until 2016.
No, this is BS.
The 26.
Why not? Like I'm offering right here, and I cannot
Yeah, but
get
if nobody reads it, it's
exactly. But if you a congressman like Bert Sherman and other congressmen, you can talk to CNN. You can have the meetings. You can.
Okay, let me ask you not to change the subject, but for another, because there is somebody who is offering a different approach, and he just won the mayor thing. What do you think of that? This Democratic Socialist. You know, he's a Muslim who just won the New York. He eliminated Cuomo, and he's getting very popular. He's like kind of a different version of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, but what can I tell you? I mean, it's just like
Is this the direction we're going? That's the question.
that's a wrong direction. And I read about him like very little. I think he's people are just trying to look for positive, something positive, and there is no direction. Anybody's normal like people offering any direction, any solutions. So when I came like to this town hall meeting with Brett Sherman, people just throw in like all kinds of stuff. And Brett couldn't answer anything. He's answering like vague.
I have to ask you a question.
Okay.
Who is Brett Sherman? I don't know.
He's a
anything about him.
congressman. He's a congressman.
A Democratic, Republican?
He's Democrat. He's a former or CPA, so he should know better about bills and the big and beautiful bill. And he's opposing that bill, but he's not offering to anything.
Yeah, for me, most of the congressmen are only good at one thing: deciding whether to choose lobster or steak for dinner.
That's a very hard choice, you know, if you think about it. So, like, again, sign up for our channel. We will talk more about the war in Iran, in Israel, in Ukraine next.
Yeah, I think that right now that's going to go the way it's going to go. The biggest question is that, you know, and this is which we could mention briefly, is that we have so many dumb people as heads of departments in this government that's our biggest problem right now. Fine, like Sasha says, what do you want to do? What do they? The point is that the people who are head of these departments, like the health department, this JFK moron, JFK Jr., who doesn't know shit from health, and this crazy Barbie from Homeland Security, who's the only thing she cares about is what color lipstick she's wearing. Yeah, she only cares about what she.
Yeah,
This is where we're struggling right now. There are so many bad people. At least, what's his name? Musk is gone, so we're not talking about Musk 24 hours a day. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, and it just it's painful even to watch that RFK. It's just painful to watch and listen. It's just so painful.
What totally pisses me off is that when you think that Trump's been in office for 7 or 8 months now, and he's already killed 300,000 children in Africa. He personally, as far as I'm concerned, is responsible for second-degree murder of 300,000 people.
Jeffrey,
and then, if that's not bad enough, the rest of the people who really needed AIDS medications and things like that, the medications are there. The food is sitting there in warehouses rotting away. The medications are sitting in warehouses, and he refuses to deliver them. Even Bill Gates went to the White House and spoke with the right people and said, "Are you going to release these things to the people?"
I will do it.
And no, and then they said no. You know,
okay,
we're dealing with insane people.
But insanity starts from the bottom. It starts on the city level, on a state level.
Oh, I thought Trump was the bottom.
yeah. But it starts like what needs to be done. And when I came to this town hall meeting, I don't see a direction. So people just like throwing things, but there is no direction. There is nobody talked about climate change. Nobody fires already. There is no fire, so there is nobody talking about the fires. Nobody talking about prevention. Nobody talking about anything. So It's just people not competent, and but I will talk to the office of Brett Sherman. Hopefully they will listen, because I have certain offers like that the government can enact and make money, because he was asked like about social security, and he says like, no, don't worry, social security, we will increase the limit on like a base of social security base from 176,000 right now or about to 400,000. But what he doesn't understand, and nobody in Congress understands, nobody in the government understands, that what happens is population getting older, and people like Jeffrey will live forever, and we have to pay them social security. And so many people like Jeffrey.
Don't worry, the amount of social security that
Is
I'm
limited.
getting is not going to bankrupt the country.
Yeah, but social security, and then Medicare, and then cost of surgeries, it's very high compared to people who contribute to the social security funds. Those pool of those people are smaller and smaller compared to the people who are retired. So this problem doesn't register with the Congress. They don't understand. So in my book, I'm tying all together illegal immigration, Medicare, the health insurance and stuff like that, healthcare insurance, and
so the secret is that, as Sasha says, most of the people don't understand, and the other half of the people don't care. How do we fix this?
Start with my book, not because I'm trying to sell it, because I do, but the point is that start somewhere to understand that nobody cares about you. Of course, you can push some stupid stuff that you think you like. For example, there was a California governor, Davis, I forgot his first name, and he was voted out.
Not Miles Davis?
No, not Miles Davis, no. He was voted out because he increased the tax on the renewals of the auto cars.
Right.
And Schwarzenegger came in power because of the special election. He didn't do anything, but the point is that you, as a people who elected and taken out of the office, you taking care of one thing and not looking at the big picture. And this is a chaos. We need to understand what we are doing, but we have to have some kind of a plan. And in my book, I'm trying to give you a plan.
Now, I will say one thing. I literally today just finished Schwarzenegger's autobiography called Total Recall. I recommend everybody should read it. It's an amazing story about somebody who, when you think about Schwarzenegger, everyone thought it was just a dumb muscle man.
He's not dumb muscle man.
One thing's for sure, he's not dumb at all.
He's not dumb.
But he cares about a lot of the things that
We're talking about, yeah,
and that you care about. And he didn't care, and even though he was a Republican, he really cares about climate change.
He was a Republican.
Yeah,
he claimed
he was Republican. Yeah,
yes.
but he worked more with Democrats than Republicans.
Because he was in California. You have to, his wife is a very major Republican, Democrat.
She had very little to do with his administration.
Right, but the point is he in the family of the major
you don't
Democrats.
Have to explain it to me.
Right, but he dealt with the Democrats because he lives in Hollywood, in a state of Democrats.
Yeah, and he's like a what's the word? An artificial Kennedy.
No, he's I'm trying to get in touch with Arnold through his friends. Maybe I will.
But I really think that you should be speaking with Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I think
you know where he is. He's in Santa Monica. That's where his office is.
But I want to just get a proper introduction.
I will say just briefly before we hang up, I met him many years ago when he was promoting Planet Hollywood, and I met him in London. And there was like a shop there where you go buy cigarette lighters and things like that, very on Bond Street. And I was just about to walk in. A limousine pulls up. Schwarzenegger comes out wearing shorts, a tank top, and things like that. I think he had muscles in his eyelids. I never saw anybody built like that in my life. And I was a huge fan of his. And I went up to him in the store and I said, "Mr. Schwarzenegger, I'm a big fan of yours." And he goes, "Thank you very much." That was the whole conversation. So I met him.
All right, Jeffrey. So thank you so much for watching. See you next week.
Yeah, this was a good one. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye now.